Hello and welcome to The Good, The Scaz and The Rugby, brought to you by Vodafone. We're in studio this week and, well, I'm back.
Thank goodness, Elma. Thank goodness.
That's not what I heard you say to Mo in the passage when you thought I wasn't listening.
No, honestly, I knew you were very good at your job and we are very lucky to have you, but my God, did I realise it even more. It was just Mo and I trying to salvage something out of it. Luckily, we had Fleeter on who was brilliant, didn't we?
I was genuinely excited for it. And then as Fleeter was talking, I was like, how do we link this together? It's terrible.
Mo said to me, she was like, it didn't make any sense. She was like, I was trying to segue. Elma is segues.
You are such a pro these days. You're all over the TV.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't even need me. If you had to score each other
Ooh.
on your co-hosting
I'm
performance.
going to say it after 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 5.
I knew she'd be savage, but I
That
just
is
didn't think
awkward.
I didn't think she'd be that savage.
I feel sorry for you, Mo.
Sorry.
No, because-
No, can we break this down?
Remember, this is going to be time.
Yeah. Let's break it down. That's halfway.
No, so I'm saying like
How did you
Elma's
just go
gold
there?
standard 10.
Okay. So how did you get to 5?
We're 5's probably good if Elma's a 10.
Yeah, fair enough. Can I go again?
I'd say I would be like a 4.
1, 2, 3.
I think lots of improvement needed.
Yeah, it was. I'm not offended. It is
But
true.
5, bang in the middle.
Bang average.
For a
think
first attempt.
You were 10s, both of you.
I'm saying I was a 4. But that was hilarious. 8. 8!
Can't believe you went
And ladies
5.
and gentlemen, that is our friendship in a nutshell.
I can't believe you went 5 though. Even if you thought 5, you can't say 5. She's sitting right
Do you know what I
there.
mean?
No, I'm an honest gal. There's no point blowing smoke.
Well, poor Mo. There's no smoking around
Yeah.
there. No, not at all. Okay.
6.
There is no segue from that into the next segment. What is it?
No, just this one.
A 6. A 6.
Okay. An honourable
It doesn't
6.
help, by the way. Carry on. No segue.
No segue. There's no way of linking what just happened, the murder on the dance floor, right there, to feeling the connection, because there's no connection between them whatsoever at this stage. Vodafone has asked us to feel the connection. So where in your travels over the last week have you felt the connection?
So I'm happy to lead off. So we obviously had our last home game of the season, or last game of the season. And we were saying goodbye to a fair few people, obviously people moving on club-wise, etc. And one of those was our very good friend, Sarah Hunter. So just being able to actually give some of those people the send-off they deserve from a Loughborough point of view, and obviously wish them well on their new journeys. But yeah, there's a few tears, I won't lie. Not mine, but other people.
Never has.
She's savage like that. Why would she cry?
Yeah, definitely.
No crying.
Yours, Mojo?
Yeah, similar. So for us, last home game of the season, obviously, before we get stuck into semis, last game at the Owl Pass, pitch was beautiful. You'll be pleased to know it was pretty
Makes a
bad when
bloody
we
change.
played Loughborough at home. So pitch was lovely, loads of activation around it, loads of kids there, like real good feel, good family day, and lots of alumni. Is that how you say it? Alumni. Flipping heck. Why can't I talk?
Why is she
Alumni.
laughing? That is the right word.
Alumni.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Thank you, Elma.
That is
No.
how you say it. Oh, that's how I would say it.
Alumni.
Alumni.
Lots of alumni there. It was really cool.
Okay, well, it's my second language, so that's my disclaimer.
But no, lovely day all round.
So what is it? Not alumni?
Yeah, alumni.
We just
I'm
literally
with you.
said
Mo
the
was
same
part
thing.
way to saying illuminous, I think.
Illuminous
Can you,
with
ask
an
me,
AS.
can you ask me when I don't feel the connection, please? Because
No connecting here whatsoever. Luckily, we do have a good connection to the north today because we are being joined by an absolute superstar. We are obviously so disappointed that she's not here on the couch, but she's really busy these days, and we're just really happy to find a gap in her schedule. She was the first deaf female rugby player to play for a senior England side and the first ever deaf female player on the World Rugby Sevens series. She's been part of an incredibly successful Exeter Chiefs team this season. And she's a former British Jiu-Jitsu champion, just, for balance. And apparently, this is a real thing, a 5-time world coal carrying champion. Very soon, she will also be on our TV screens on BBC One as Fury, the Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to have you on, Jody. What is life like right now? Where are you? In Sheffield?
Yeah, I'm up north, but I'm bouncing between Sheffield and back at home at the minute.
Of course, on Gladiators duty. A very serious tan you've got going there. Some massive brows. Is being a TV star all it's cracked up to be? Are you loving it? Are you living for it?
It's been wild. Like, I'm just trying to embrace it because it's another world. It's completely nothing I've experienced before. So, no, I'm definitely missing being a rugby gal, but I'm trying to embrace this as much as I can. It's been crazy.
Is there anything that's been like really out of your comfort zone that you've struggled with the most?
Obviously, the biggest thing is like the dancing situation because I'm like stiff as anything. So I won't like dance on the dance floor and then to be like on the stage, like hyping up the crowd and doing all our signature moves and sequences. It's been wild. And I think they can understand that though. So they've tried to soften it up and make it more like aggressive for me anyway. So
have there been moments where they've had to kind of egg you on a bit more and make sure you've given it a bit more for the camera?
Yeah, like I think the first one I did, it was bad. I came in, I was just stood there, I was awkward as anything, and it was just a bit like, awkward silence in the room. And I think I was just like, I don't dance, I can't do it. And then there was like, okay, we'll work around that. We'll maybe add some like punches in, like, this growling and like hyping up the crowd. So that's actually helped me. But to be honest, I think I've got better. And obviously we've been at it for a couple of weeks now. And well, it's starting tomorrow. So I need to get in shape.
Do you think you're going to be way more scared? Is there going to be like full arena tomorrow? So how many will you have practiced in front of to how many will be there tomorrow?
Well, when in rehearsals, we've done like rehearsals and we've done like run through a full show, but obviously it was an empty arena. So we're doing all the filming and like hyping up the crowd to just pure silence. No one awkward as anything. Cameras are on you, everyone's watching you, and you have to come out like screaming and like, waving to the crowd and stuff, and just there's no one there. So I actually think it'll be so much easier when there is a crowd, adrenaline, because it'll feel like you're almost playing a rugby game and stuff. So yeah, I think it'll be easier.
I think also like the whole rugby community is behind you. Like we are absolutely loving that you're there. Obviously Alex Gray as well, like used to play sevens with him. So the fact that you guys are there, like we are fully behind it, fully invested. So you've got a lot of fans back home anyway.
No, it means a lot. And just on Alex, he is like full on taking this role seriously.
I can imagine.
Like his ego, his persona, like I honestly think he could go into like WWE after this. Like the way he's just been is honestly brilliant. So yeah, it's been good to be on this journey with him, I suppose.
That's probably the thing about Gladiators, is that it's halfway between WWE, which is scripted, and something that is genuinely competitive. You do have to have like massive athletic ability, and the trials, by the sounds of it, from everything I've heard and read, you do have to be very fit to do this, right? It's not just muscles for show.
No, like it's legit the training. Like we were in a genuine training camp, and obviously we've all come from different sporting backgrounds, but it was honestly savage. That first day of training, we was all wiped out. Like we literally got back to our apartments and we couldn't even speak to each other. We just had to like time to reset. It was bad. So yeah, you do need to be athletic, and it's certain games as well. Like, but to be honest, most of the games, rugby has been amazing because a lot of contact, speed, agility. So actually, rugby has actually really benefited for the training. Apart from like the Olympic ring swinging and like rock climbing, but that's a different story. But yeah, it's not all just flexing muscles and like screaming and on camera and that. You do actually have to do the games and like beat the contenders. So we basically can't get beaten. They're coming up against the Gladiators, who are the best of the best. So yeah, it is a bit of pressure as well, but that's the exciting thing, I suppose.
How was your trial? Talk us through the trial situation.
Yeah, so the trials, so obviously they had loads of different trials on different days, but it was really difficult for me to go on a trial because they invited me, because I was surprised to even get invited. I was like, what, Gladiators? So yeah, I kept putting it off, and I kept turning around saying, look, I honestly can't do it because of training and rugby games, and in season it was just too much. But then they literally had a deload week, and it was like the last trial. So I thought, right, yeah, I'll attend and see how it goes. And then I turned up. I was so nervous. It felt like my first rugby game again or something. It was so bizarre. But I thought, I need to do this. I was so competitive as well. But no, it was savage, but it was good though.
That is amazing. Did club know you were going for the trial, or was that stealth mode?
Well, it was during the deload week, so I thought, I'll just do it. Because I didn't think anything was going to come from it. So I just thought,
Give it a crack.
And then it went from there. I was like, oh God, okay, it's actually like progressing. So then I was like, because I generally didn't think I would even be on the radar or anything like that. So I was generally like gobsmacked when I found out. So yeah.
What a wild turn. Are you going to come back to rugby, do you think? Or is this you now, Fury?
No, everyone thinks I'm like leaving rugby. Honestly not. Literally, as soon as filming finishes, the day after, I'm straight back into training. So I'm definitely coming back. Yeah, I'm not ready to step away from rugby at all. I love it too much.
When does filming finish?
The 13th of June.
Oh, so you're still in the mixer.
Yeah, so literally finished filming and then just come back into training and see what happens.
That's class.
Mo's just plotting now.
I'm plotting.
She's like,
I
if we
think,
make the final, if Exeter make the final.
Yeah, if Exeter make the final, then Jody's in. No, I think it was Exeter Chiefs tweet or their Instagram post was like, oh, we wish you all the best, that sort of thing. It kind of read as if you weren't coming back. So I think that's why it got a few people talking. But that's awesome that they've just given you that little sabbatical.
Yeah, literally. I got so many people thinking I was just giving up rugby or I wasn't coming back to Chiefs, but it's literally not the case. They were just amazing to say that I have time off and then come back once it's finished. So
too easy. Every year, 2 weeks off. Gladiators.
It's not off. 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Contenders, are you ready? Do you know we even had gladiators in South Africa? Obviously, our gladiators had different names like Sahara. And
what does that mean?
Oh, really?
Sahara, like the desert.
Oh, sorry. It's your accent.
I thought you said Sarah, but with a H.
Sahara. And Tusk. And Granite.
Nice.
Yeah. Granite was a man mountain. He was iconic. Sahara had red, like wavy hair. I remember because obviously I was that age where this is really like iconic stuff. I genuinely also, there was a part of me that always thought that it only happened in South Africa. So I'm really quite excited that
we only thought it happened in the UK.
It turns out it's quite a universal experience. You're a second generation gladiator. Do you get like a little star because your dad was a gladiator as well?
Yeah, well, no, my dad was a contender.
Oh.
So now I'm going to be a gladiator. So I was literally 7 years old when I watched him on the show. And I remember like it was yesterday. So now he's going to be in the crowd watching me be a gladiator. So it's quite bizarre, really. But I think he's as excited as I am.
You've properly one-upped him there. He was a contender and you've gone straight to gladiator status.
But the thing is, though, when because they told us over like a Zoom whether we we're going to get it or not, and I was literally like, oh, I haven't got it. And then when I got told, I was that speechless. Like anyone else apparently were like crying, like, you know, oh my God, I can't believe it. I was that speechless. I literally said something, oh, I'm really chuffed. Like, fact. Yeah. I was just like, I was that speechless. But obviously my dad were there as well. And he's like, he don't show any emotions. Like he's been in the police 30 years, obviously come from a fighting background. So he's very, you know, straightforward. But he was cracking up when he found out about being a and I've never seen him crack ever. So I think that says it all, really. I'm quite gobsmacked.
Was he a little emotional?
Yeah. Like he was talking and his voice was cracking up and I was like, are you all right? You know, what's going on?
He should now reapply to be a contender again, and you could go against one another. Would you back yourself?
Well, you can't because it's females and females and males and males. But can't it just be like a little special,
Yeah.
like dad versus daughter thing?
Dad versus daughter.
Amazing.
I feel really sorry for the chicks who have to go up.
Yeah.
Ow. Ow.
That would be one of those where they realise who they've drawn in that particular event, and then they're going to be like, oh, shit.
Oopsies.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the outfits?
Yes.
We talk about the things women wear when they play rugby all the time. How much thought, how much say do you have in the Fury get-up? And what about it is exciting and how much of it is petrifying?
Well, to be fair, like the outfits are great because, again, everyone's different. Like it matches everyone's personality. So for me, I'm kind of in like a sort of like a sports bra and then like sort of little, basically like cycling shorts, which is fine for me because I thought if they were going to get me in some thong or something like that, I did not want to be like tackling people and everything flying about. So
surely no one's in a thong. Is someone wearing a thong?
No, but like, no, if they got me in that, because some of the other girls...
Different kind of show that, Jody.
Some of the other girls were in like sort of, they're literally in like pants, at least. It just looked like pants, but I just thought that was not for me because I just didn't trust them staying on. So, but everyone's different. So it's what people felt comfortable in. So obviously I feel comfortable in like a sports bra and then just some like shorts because it's just like wearing undershorts with rugby really. So, yeah, I think they've been really good with that. They've really like tried to, they're not making us be a certain character or all look the same. They're like what we feel comfortable in and who we want to be and bring to the table type thing. So, which is really cool.
For the contact ones, do you get given your own headgear or will you wear like your scrum hat headgear?
We get given what they're given. So it's pretty much like a sponge sort of helmet. So it's actually all right with my implant and stuff because, again, they've been amazing on that side of things as well, trying to make it as... Because, like, can you imagine, right, if I were doing Powerball and then I didn't hear the whistle or something and then I carry on smashing someone, it won't look good, would it? It really won't look good. So they've been, like, above and beyond of, like, getting, like, studio lights and, like, sort of big projections on the screens and stuff. So it's so visual and, like... Yeah, so I was a bit nervous about that, but that's sorted. Yeah, I was trying to not go crazy because once a switch goes in me, I go a little bit crazy. So I was just trying to keep it low key and just focus on the techniques. But yeah, honestly, in training as well, like with each other, because the training, we had to do it on each other at Gladiator and on Gladiator, and we don't want to injure each other before we get into it. So we've been kind of going like, 50% and that, but no one has an idea what 50% is. And I'm like, 50% is not 100%. So yeah, I've been really holding back. And obviously what I'm most excited about is being able to go 100% on the contenders. So
I really feel for these contenders. I am buzzing to watch. I literally am buzzing to watch.
I'm honestly buzzing. I feel like, do you know when horses are about to race and they like want to get out there? Like I'm going to be, obviously I'm so bad with dancing and stuff, but I feel like I'm going to be sprinting out on that stage. Like
beating your chest, giving it the roar.
Oh God. Can you imagine me just roaring on the stage? I still just,
so good.
I literally was watching it back and I was like cringing. I thought, what are you doing? But that's literally my character.
You've got to go all in though, haven't you? It's one of those things, if you try and half-ass it, you'll see straight through it. So you've got to go all in.
I'm more worried that you're not going to sleep tonight, to be honest.
No, honestly, I think since doing a training, I don't even think I've slept. Just my mind has been going 100 miles per hour. And I'm like, right, what if I fall down that step on that stage? How will I play it off? You know what I mean? All these things are just going around my head. But then you just got to embrace it. And yeah, if I did fall, just got to play it cool.
And you've got the Fury Manny already. I loved your video with your mom. You are so widely followed on TikTok and on Instagram already. I feel like you've already had a tiny kind of slice of fame and kind of wider appreciation and I feel like you've handled it so well because you make such beautiful content and such a variety of, I feel like a lot of your stuff is actually like like deep and meaningful, just you enjoying the sunsets, and you talk quite vulnerably about a lot of stuff, but then you also have your mom going, look at my figurine, like nails.
Honestly, yeah, but it's bizarre though. I started on social media just to raise a bit of deaf awareness, really. And then I think when I sort of got feedback, mostly from like parents with young deaf children or like teachers or like coaches, it shocked me. So I thought, I'll just post a couple of more videos. And then it kind of just went from there. I never like see it as fame or anything like it. Literally makes me cringe. I'm like, I don't see it as fame or anything like that. I just, I'm just playing rugby. I'm just doing what I love doing. And then I'm also trying to raise a little bit of awareness. And obviously with my mum as well, she's just crazy. So it's hard not to like put her on social media as well. But I don't really think much of it. I just doing my own little thing, really.
And then you're incorporating British Sign Language in some of your signature Fury moves. Can you teach us any of it?
Yeah, so my main signature move is Fury. So Fury in British Sign Language is like, obviously like the claws, and anger it's like because you're furious. So it's like, obviously you got to make it more extra with my dance. So there's a little bit more to that. So it's like, but the first time it's like up here and then it's like out here and a big punch. And I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, so I'm trying to add little bits to it. And like when I'm sort of hyping up the crowd, sort of doing the little I love you signs and just little signs that people can pick up quite quickly. So try and do that.
Can't do that hand.
Yeah, so that means I love you.
Nice.
What's crazy to me is that you started learning British Sign Language as an adult. And this is obviously a misconception that I have as someone who's a hearing person. I thought that if you have a deaf child, then they learn and everyone in the household learns sign language as a matter of course. How is it that you never did that? And it seems like you went the harder route, which is to lip read and get the cochlear implant, because I know that that's also a really involved process of learning how to use that. But was it because you got it so young?
Well, it's just like, it depends on the person. People just have different opinions, go down different routes. It depends on the level of deafness you have. So I kind of it was my parents' choice, obviously, because I had the implant when I was like 13 months old. So I didn't have a say in it, obviously. So they decided to have a cochlear implant just because that's what they thought was the best option for me. And then the medical side of things, they advised if you get a cochlear implant, just try and focus on your speech therapy, because if you're signing, you're moving away from focusing on speech therapy, if that makes sense. So they kind of said just focus on speech and your rehab, and then if you want to learn sign language down the route, then you can do that. But then for someone else, it might be they don't agree with cochlear implants, so they go down the route of using British Sign Language as their first language and might go to a deaf school instead, whereas I went to mainstream school. So it really just depends on the person and then the circumstances and like the family situation. But, that was my parents' decision, and I'm just going to back them for that and support what they decided. And then obviously I've sort of picked up bits of sign language later on. But yeah, everyone thinks that though. Everyone thinks, oh, you're deaf, so you know sign language, which anyone would think. So yeah, I'm kind of just trying to pick it up, and I'm not fluent or anything like that, but I know bits and bobs.
What gave you the drive to want to learn?
I think it was like when I obviously started going in like deaf schools and being a bit more involved in like the deaf community. I felt really bad that I was going into deaf schools and, quite majority of the kids were using sign language, and I was going in there and talking and having to have like an interpreter next to me. I just felt a bit bad that I wasn't part of it. So I think I thought, right, I want to learn at least a little bit so I can, go in and say, oh, how are you? And things like that. At least I'm showing that I'm part of it and wanting to learn and actively trying to learn. So I think that sort of gave me the push. But yeah, I've still got a long way to go, but I'm trying.
You are still quite an anomaly. You are still the most high profile deaf person to play rugby at this moment, I think almost worldwide, there are not many examples of people who do what you do. Is that a lot of pressure? Is that a lot of responsibility to be that role model?
But I wouldn't say so, because I generally don't see this pressure, or I don't even see myself as a role model. I literally just see that I'm doing rugby, I'm loving rugby, and I happen to be a little bit deaf, you know. So yeah, for me it's like bizarre still trying to get my head around that, you know, people potentially see me as a role model, or, you know, see me, you know, in that situation. Yeah, it's just bizarre, but at the same time, it really warms your heart that I do have that sort of platform to be able to do that. So I think that's why I'm so passionate about trying to raise awareness and try to be a good person, and, like, you know, but also try and be all right at rugby as well. So it's just, you know, I'm just doing me, really.
Have you managed to meet many people along the way that perhaps thought rugby wasn't possible for them, or maybe certain sports weren't possible for them, and actually you've been able to be like, no, here I am, XYZ will help you along the way, etc.? Because I think that's got to be one of the coolest things, surely.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the amount of messages I get mostly from like parents of, like, you know, they've said, oh, my kids have just got cochlear implants and that's because of you, and now they're getting into sport because we've got told that, you know, cochlear implants, or because you're deaf in general, you get doubted that you can't achieve certain things. So, and just getting messages saying because of your story and seeing you play rugby and, you know, achieving different things, that now my daughter is doing the same and I have high hopes for him. You've given us confidence, and just, I don't know, just hearing things like that it really, like, blows my mind. But then at the same time, it just makes your heart warm, and I'm just really grateful that people even see me in that way. So to be able to do that, it's yeah, I'm grateful, really.
You're inspiring everyone. I mean, we're inspired to try and be gladiators one day, so
I
not
would
just the deaf
never
community.
make the cut to be a gladiator.
I'm
As soon
joking,
as
we
Jody
haven't-
said something about as many pull-ups as you can in a minute, I was like, yeah, no, it's not
you're
for me.
out.
Upper
It's not
body
for me.
strength, here we go.
Are we allowed a red band, or?
Yeah, green, is a green band around your knee allowed or no?
Do you wear knee pads as a gladiator as well, Scaz?
I bet you do wear knee and elbow pads in some things, don't you?
You literally, like your knee pads, I'm kidding you not, exactly the same.
Yes.
Elbow pads and knee pads.
There we
So
are.
you're basically a gladiator.
Maybe the dream isn't over.
Well, we just need a gladiator name for you now.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The T-Rex.
It's easy. Mo's one has to be like something about dynamite, like being small. I don't know if there is a...
I would be
There
shocking.
is actually dynamite.
She's
There
my
we
favourite.
go.
No, you're my favourite. I can't even go there. You're my favourite by a mile.
I think the only thing that I'm qualified to do on Gladiators is be one of the refs. I love the refs. I love how much personality they're also allowed to bring to it.
At the end of the day, it is a bit of fun. It is like an entertainment show, and like trying to inspire people to get into sport, but also make it fun as well. So I think that's what I'm trying to, because me going into it, I was like, right, I need to win everything. I need to like smash everyone. But at the same time, I was like, actually, no, you just need to go in there, have a bit of fun and just loosen up and just scream on stage and just not give a damn, really. So
You remind
I think-
remind yourself of that when you're flying at that first event tomorrow.
You literally were just beating your chest telling us that you got Powerball first.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I like, honestly, yeah, I think I need to remind myself, because I will literally go in that as like, I'm about to play a game. That's the thing. Instead of thinking, right, it's just a little bit of a game, a little bit of entertainment. I'll be going in there like, no, I need to win this. You're not getting past. And if you get past, I'll be fuming. So
Your first contestant is coming off crying tomorrow, I know.
I'll just have to give her a hug.
When that whistle blows. Here's my soft side.
People do think I'm a psychopath or something, because I literally just switch. I'll be angry as anything, and then afterwards I'll be like, you did brilliant, love, give us an hug. You know?
I love that. So I'm sure Exeter Chiefs are watching this with great expectations of you bringing all of the Fury fans and packing out the home games in particular in the very near future. Have they like break it down for someone who's never played professional rugby before. Have they had to make any adaptations to the way things work? Because I know you moved there from Sale Sharks. So when you, as a deaf person, walk into a club like that, are there things that you kind of have to tell them beforehand? Listen, guys, like from now on, can you do this? Are there practical adaptations that are required, or is it because of your cochlear implant that you basically function like normal players? Does training have to take certain things into account?
For me, mainly it's going in, because I'm obviously nervous going into a new team anyway. To break the ice, I just take the mick out myself. I'm awful for taking the mick out myself. And that makes people feel more at ease. So like, making little funny comments or just be like, whatever. And then that's sort of how I bring up the conversation, and then just sort of try and educate people. Just be like, oh, by the way, if you're talking to me, can you try and stay front on? Or if we're in a noisy environment, can you try and not constantly moving your body around so I can't see your mouth? Or just literally the tiniest little things. And even those make a big difference. And obviously, like when you're out on the pitch, I just remind the coaches, like if you're explaining a drill, try and be as close to me as possible, or I try and get as close as to them, or in team huddles, just so I'm in an area so I can see your mouth. Like it's really not big drastic things at all. And I think people sort of think you do need to make big changes for it to be helpful, but it's just little tweaks and mainly reminding people and stuff. Or even just being stood on my right side, because obviously that's the side my implant's on. Because if you're on my left side, people just think I'm ignoring them and just being really rude. So I'm just like, I have to remind people like, oh, can you be on this side? So yeah, just little things like that, and just being more honest and open about it, really, more than anything. But that's
this
about
might
it,
be
really.
a daft question, but does that alter which wing you prefer playing on?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't really hear much anyway. So, but to be fair, if I was on like the left wing, that means obviously my good. I don't even have a good side, but my good side would be facing everyone on the pitch. But I'm not really bothered. I'd play on any wing, but it probably would be a little bit easier being on the left wing, I suppose. But
Coach
really
Scaz.
I was just thinking.
Coach Scaz, that it.
You're right, though.
Love that.
Like, I mean,
Write that one down.
it's so hard. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, for us who don't have any issues with hearing things on a rugby field half the time. So, yeah, it's especially when you're probably not in the forwards, because everything happens so much closer when you're a forward. Whereas when you're out in the backs, we can be like 15 metres away from each other sometimes. It's certainly not ideal.
Is there like Jody sign language for rugby specifically? Like, have you got like a shorthand of signals and instructions that like are universally applicable that like you use?
Well, not really. Well, I know at Sale, for like certain moves, we did like little hand signals. So I think one of our moves were like called cheetah or something like that. So we did like a little claw. So we'd be on the pitch, be like, and then I obviously know what move's coming up. But then with Chiefs, it's kind of just because there's quite a lot of structure in place anyway. So it's the case of just knowing what the structure is, and then just sort of asking. Mainly, it's me going up to the players and it's like, oh, what like move are we doing? So I know beforehand. Otherwise, I'm like thinking, have they called something and I haven't heard it? So I'm always constantly like asking just to be 100%. Yeah, that we get round it really.
Facial expressions are often a really good way of feeding back as well. Like, I need the ball here. Like, just give them the eyes and the hands. Like, come on. What am I going to do with the ball behind me? Like, get it out here.
Right, I've got a story on this. So Scaz, when we used to play at Lichfield, I was 9, Scaz was 10 for a season and a bit, honestly. And every time I threw the ball to her, if it wasn't like pinpoint accurate, right here in her chest, she'd go, ah, like as she was trying to catch it and like tut at me. Honestly, the
so
feedback you never knew you
exaggerated.
didn't need. It was terrible.
Look at her now, though. Player of the bloody season.
Right.
You're welcome.
This isn't about me.
She's going to find a way to take credit for that.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We see you and we know you've worked really hard.
Do you find I'm going back to you. I'm just a bit awkward, so changing the conversation. Do you find it like more difficult 7s or 15s? And have you played different positions in 15s? Is it easier, like being out on the wing, for example, than being like in the mix at centre, or is one easier than the other?
Like sevens I found so much easier because obviously there's literally 7 people on the pitch, so it's not as chaotic. And then I think it's when I've come back to 15s and like being with Chiefs, I was like, God, like it's just chaos. Like just all the sounds just merged together. So I was like, okay, this is a bit overwhelming. But then the more I sort of got to know everyone and know the structure and stuff like that, that definitely made a difference. But then again, like I've just always been on the wing because I've just naturally went to the wing. But I've always sort of, they might have put me as centre or something like that just to try it out. But I did notice a difference because I was like, I actually have to know like what's being said, and like if I'm hearing something on this side and then not hearing something on this side, it is stressful, and then I feel like I'm more focused on trying to hear people than actually playing rugby. So I have noticed that, but I feel like there's ways getting around it, but I have noticed. So for the time being, I'm just out on the win.
Love that. To be fair, I've been in the middle like my whole life pretty much, and I still can't hear half the things that's being said. I just throw it to whoever I think wants the ball, so I wouldn't worry about that. That's pretty natural, mate. Yeah.
I need to ask a question. So you are a 5-time world coal carrying champion. We're going to talk about that. You're also a former British Jiu-Jitsu champion. You could have done many other things. And I know that you started playing rugby quite young because your parents obviously like had no choice but to give in because Fury was waiting to get out there. But why rugby? Why did you pursue rugby to the extent that you have? Because I feel like having done all of those other things and looking at your dad's absolutely enviable athletic record of just excelling at so many different things, you could have probably done an individual sport. It's fascinating to me that you've pursued a sport that relies on cohesion and communication and physicality to such an extent.
Yeah, sometimes I think, how did I get into rugby? But no, obviously, I can't quite remember what drew me to rugby. Obviously, my brother started, and then once I watched it, I think it was just because it were literally a combination of fighting, BJJ, so the contact side of things. And then obviously I did athletics, so speed. So it was just like merging everything together. And then the co-race, that's a bit gritty and all that. And obviously rugby's a bit gritty. So I think it was just a whole mixture of contact, aggression, running, tackling, and then also having teammates. And then I think after the first session, I think how welcoming everyone was. I don't think I've felt that before. So yeah, I think that's what drew me in, obviously, to stay with rugby, how like amazing people were. And obviously I was such a shy person. I'm still shy now, but like when I started rugby, I was very, very shy and I didn't have any confidence. So I think that's all down to rugby and just the people. And yeah, so I think that's why I love rugby now.
Are there practical examples when you say people were just so nice? I'm literally trying to build like a toolkit for people out there who might have a shy girl with a cochlear implant report to their club looking like she might want to turn into an absolute superstar. Are there any practical things that people in rugby environments did when you joined that you'd love to see become kind of a wider norm?
I think for me, because I'd never really followed rugby. I didn't watch rugby. I didn't know anything about rugby or the laws or anything like that. And then I was so nervous to get out of the car in the car park this first rugby session. I just wanted to go home. I didn't want to do it anymore. And then I remember just seeing a few girls walk past the car. I was just sat in the car trying to get out. And then a few girls walked past and they kind of was like, just sort of said, oh, do you want to come with us? Do you want to walk with us? So I got out of the car and just walked with them, and then they took me to the field. And then I just remember as soon as I went to the field, everyone just straight away came up to me and just introducing themselves, asking who I was. And they kind of knew a bit about my deafness anyway, because my dad ran up the coach beforehand just to like warn them. But yeah, I think that's what surprised me. You know, the girls just taking me to the field and then everyone coming up to me. I feel like you might not always get that in different sports or individual sports. So I think that's what surprised me more than anything. And I think that in itself can be massive, just having a group of girls who have got your back on the first day. So yeah.
So wholesome. Love that.
It's lovely. And when you watch that film, the Remarkables feature on you that tells the story of you getting your cochlear implant, and that little clip of you as a 14-month-old getting the implant and seeing the impact that made in your life, just makes your journey so much more impressive. There's a line that said, your parents were told you would struggle speaking, struggle with education, struggle with getting a job. You are overachieving in so many respects that it is genuinely, absolutely intimidating. I love that you've just absolutely gotten on with it. Is that because of the way your parents just raised you to get out there and just get stuck in?
Yeah, I think so. They're very much like, right, crack on, you can do it. And it's mostly been myself holding myself back, just lacking confidence. I can't do it. And they're just like, Jodie, snap out of it, get out there and just do it anyway. And you'll feel good for doing it. So I think they've been a big part of just giving me that mindset of just like finding solutions around things, and you can just crack on really. But yeah.
Are there any moments in your life that stick out in particular around that you were like really not sure you wanted to do it and they were like, no, go for it?
I generally think that first rugby session, like I'm not kidding, I was sat in the back of the car, like, this was like after weeks nagging my parents saying, oh, can I do rugby? And obviously they were saying, no, you can't do rugby because of your implant and the risks and stuff. And then I just kept getting on the back about it. And then that's when he were researching different head guards or different safety measures and all that. And then he finally said, right, we'll let you do a session. And then can you imagine him taking me to this rugby session and then me being like, oh, I don't want to do it now. Can we just go up? We were just like, right, we're not having that. You ain't just dragged me out of the house to go through all of this for you to want to go home. But then he actually did like give me a little pep talk and was like, you do realise once you've done it, you'll probably love it. And I know you're like scared now, but you'll probably love it. You'll do it and you'll feel so much better for doing it. So I remember it like it was yesterday. And I do think if he didn't give me a kick up the, I probably would have wanted to do it. So I do remember that as being like a sort of an impactful moment, I suppose.
That's mad, isn't it? Imagine how different your life could have been if you hadn't have had that little pep talk.
I know, and I think that's the thing, like, I don't think people realise, like, how powerful words can be, even just on the rugby field, or, if you do something wrong, if you do a mistake, just a little pat on the back, or just a, like, next job, you've got this, just a little word like that can really make a difference. And so I try and do that now. I try and sort of lift people up whenever I'm in the gym or on the field, because I know, like, little things like that help me massively. So, yeah, words are powerful, that's all I can say.
I feel like that's almost the theme of your social media presence as well. You make such a point consistently of driving that message home in so many different ways. And I think that you do it with so much honesty that it's really easy to read that it's true and it's authentic. And I think that's probably one of the most impressive things, that you just get so right. Do you think about that a lot?
No, but are you trying to crack a tear out of me or something? Because I'm going to start crying here. But no, like, for me, I just try and be myself. I try and not be someone else or how social media should be or anything like that. I'm literally me, being honest, whack it on social media, and people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, then it's me. So, yeah, I think the more you are, the more yourself, people can just relate to you, I suppose, and not try and, I don't want to say fake, but you just want to be yourself on social media, don't you? So that's what I try and do.
And they're the best types of role models, I think. The people that are themselves. They're not dressed up in any particular way. They're not, anything they're not. It's, I know I always get a load of stick for not doing anything on social media, but that's me and who I am. If all of a sudden I start, I don't know, advertising random deodorants or something,
Yeah, we'll
everyone
all
would be like,
unfollow you.
Scaz, what the
Yeah.
actual hell? Deodorant was the first thing I could think of. But do you know what I mean? You have to be authentic, then people relate. I've ruined my whole point with deodorant, haven't I?
No.
all
You know
all
what I mean.
anyone heard was deodorant. Which deodorant brand recently approached Emily Scarrett for £100? But do you know what I love the most is how it's almost like you translate your first-hand experiences, which are not accessible to a lot of us. Like none of us can imagine being profoundly deaf, but you translate it in a way that is just so accessible. I think there's a TikTok where you say taking your cochlear implant off at the end of the day is like taking off your bra. And I feel that. I mean, I feel that deeply.
The best feeling.
It's so refreshing. Like, oh, honestly, if you've just had a long day and you're like, I'm sick of hearing anyone now, you just take it off, and it's just like you're gone. You're in your own little world. So yeah, it's honestly, I actually think it's better than taking a bra off. So yeah,
That's incredible. Imagine being sat next to someone just being like, you're actually really boring me now. I'm just gonna thank you. Just sit there
but the
nodding.
thing is, literally, but my parents, they won't let it lie. They rant on about it all the time. Apparently, when I was, obviously not now, when I was younger, if they were telling me off, I'd just take it off in front of them and be like really like cocky, be like, ha ha, I can't hear you now. They can't say anything because they just stop talking. But I thought, the audacity to do that. I've never done that.
Epic.
Imagine.
I think I want to be your best friend.
That is so cheeky. Talk to me about taking it off and putting it on. So I'm not quite sure how all of this works. I used to work with a woman whose son got a cochlear implant, and I watched via the experience of getting him kind of used to it. The part of the device that sits outside of your head is how contact proof, how safe, how dangerous is it? Does it break? Is it waterproof? How does that work?
It's not waterproof, and even a little bit of sweat breaks it basically. So like in training, when it's like, peeing it down, I always have to wear hats or a scrum cap, even when we're not doing contact, so I look so daft. But yeah, it's always trying to keep it dry. And then it's sort of mostly the batteries, just changing the batteries because they last like 2 days. So it's always like, right, make sure I've changed them before a game so they don't run out in the game. Or if they break, make sure I've got a spare implant. Or if I don't have a spare implant, it's just always on my mind. But yeah, the part on like this part on my ear, that's just where the batteries are. But then that part, that's an actual magnet. So it just basically just sticks to my head like a magnet. But so now I can't hear anything. Obviously, I've taken it off. And then back onto sound. So, because obviously I've got a magnet underneath my skin that just sits on my skull. And then that magnet sticks to my head, obviously. So when I was a kid, I had like little magnets and trying to stick them to my head, thinking it were amazing and stuff. So, honestly, I was so bad as a kid. I feel like I try and be a good person now.
I'd make up for it.
And how robust is the magnet on the inside?
Obviously, so I've had it since I was 13 months old. So you can imagine like it's had time to really, like the skin, it's really embedded into my head. So it's tough, but obviously they say you shouldn't do any contact sports because of the potential risk of dislodging it. So if someone, a direct blow to the head hard enough, it can like, it just dislodges it on the skull. So that's the main risk. But then, yeah, I'm just like, still want to do rugby anyway.
And that will never have to be changed for the rest of your life?
No. So it would only have to be changed if it got dislodged. So if it got dislodged, then I'd have to have another operation and try and fix it. But even then, if it gets dislodged, it doesn't always mean that you can have it done again because it's something to do with like the nerves or something like that. It might not work. So I've heard like people I've known, he had a cochlear implant and for whatever reason it dislodged. So then they had to reoperate and try and, sort it out. But then he had a stroke in his face. So I was like, oh, right, okay. So then they tried to operate on the other side. And again, I think it happened again. So there's just complications that can come with it, and you know, it might not work again and stuff like that. And obviously, like, it can't be pleasant if a magnet dislodges as well under your skin. But I don't really think about that. I'm just like, yeah, I just
Sounds like the best way to go.
I was going to say, I've heard of some sports injuries, but that one gives me the absolute heebie-jeebies. That is a very squishy thing to think of.
It's the MRIs that's the worst thing, because I can't have MRIs, because obviously if you're going to MRI, the magnet would just come straight out my skin. So for like injuries, that's just really hard to work around. So every time I've had an injury, whether it's like hamstring tears or anything like that, I just have to go for a little ultrasound.
Elma's looking less surprised than we are. We have MRIs all the time. Like, you have a little hamstring niggle, shoulder pops here and there. Like, I reckon I've probably had over 50 MRIs in my life, just on different
50?
things. Honestly, my back catalogue of discs is insane. Just because, like, you need to know what's going on, don't you? So whether you can play at the weekend, X, Y, Z. Maybe 50 is an exaggeration. Look, guys, I'm trying to make a point here.
50.
But my point is, if without all of those, you actually have no idea. Well, relatively no idea what's going on. An MRI will literally tell you, yes, you can train, no, you can train. Whereas an ultrasound can be way fluffier, can't they?
And if it's muscular, yeah, you can get an idea. But like, if I did my ACL, for example, I don't know what I'd do in that situation, because I don't think an ultrasound would work on that, would it really?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also, I feel like on the flip side of that, sometimes you have like the MRI and you think you're fine. You're like, oh, it might just be a little something. And then you're out for 6 weeks because that's what the MRI says. So you could also use the other side of that to your advantage. Like, oh, well, let's see if we can crack on.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Fine. ACL or something. Yeah, but the thing is, like, with that, I think there are ways, because obviously if I had like an emergency thing, or, you know, if I had something really serious, like I needed a head scan or something like that, and I need a MRI, I think you can get around it, but you have to like literally a bandage, but that tight around your head to try and hold the magnet on your skull, which I would be so nervous doing that, because I was thinking, is a little bandage going to hold it on? And imagine like going in thinking, right, is it going to rip out my head any minute, love? You know what I mean? But for the time being, I ain't going anywhere near him, love. I'm keeping with the ultra.
I don't blame you.
I was literally thinking about this now through AI and all of the technological advancements we've had. I'm sure we're just going to wake up one day and someone's going to have figured out all of the stuff, and it'll be so simple and so straightforward. But until then, we've got superheroes like you just gladiatoring all over the place. There's always cold carrying, which we haven't even spoken about in any great detail. Did not know that this was a thing. Coal?
It's a Yorkshire.
I was going to say, it's not a thing everywhere.
Coal carrying championships.
Yeah.
That story of your parents telling about you walking around with a bag of carrots on your back as a tiny little girl because you wanted to be like your dad is literally just the cutest thing ever.
Honestly. But like, it's a legit thing, and it's only getting bigger each year. It's like every Easter Monday or something like that. And it started by two mates in the pub with the pints and that. And they said, oh, do you want to race first one to the maypole? I don't know where the sack of coal came from, but basically that's how it started.
The most important part.
The coal carrying championships. Yeah. They just picked up a random bag somewhere outside the pub?
Yeah, maybe. I generally don't know. Anyway, so it's generally a big tradition now. So when I first competed in the races, I was 3 years old, but you were supposed to be 5 years old. But I think we just lied about my age.
They're not going to notice. I mean,
and then did it pretty much every year since. But then obviously I had to stop around when I started taking rugby pretty serious, because you can't imagine like physios and that being all right when we're doing that every year and stuff. So yeah. I honestly loved it. I tell you, it's brilliant. If you're ever in Yorkshire, you just need to do it. You just need to do it.
How many people compete? Like, paint the picture. How heavy is the coal?
There's kids races, there's women's races, men's races, there's like veteran races. There's literally so many categories. But the kids races, obviously, it's like a bag of sand instead of like coal, obviously for safety reasons and that. And that's like a sprint. And then it goes up to like, I think it's under 16s and 18s or something like that, but it's slightly changed now. And then the women's race and the men's race. So the women have a 20 kg sack of coal, and then the men have 40. And then you just run a mile uphill, and that's literally it.
A mile.
A mile.
Are the streets lined?
Honestly, it's amazing. And then like the last bit, you're like absolutely dying with this sack of coal, and then everyone's screaming. And then you chuck it onto the like pile of hay. And then you get your little sticker to say where you came and that, and then you get a little trophy and stuff.
What time of year does this normally happen? We need to arrange some form of visit, I think.
Easter.
Oh,
Like
Easter.
Easter
Oh,
Monday.
sorry. Oh, so we've just missed it.
Oh.
Well, just.
Yeah.
So
We
good.
just had
I was about to say, you went to
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheese rolling, didn't
we
you?
went to Gloucester cheese rolling. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Mental.
Did you compete?
It looks wild.
It is no,
People
like
rip limbs off and stuff doing
Whoa.
that. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. But one of the girls reckoned there was 15,000 people there, and it is the smallest hill in Gloucester. I think she was exaggerating quite a lot, but there was thousands and thousands of people there. It was ridiculous, like honestly ridiculous.
And do you run after your...
Genuinely,
It's one
they're
cheese,
at
isn't
the
it?
Wheel.
steepest hill I've ever seen in my life. It's probably only about like 30 meters long. It's not, maybe a bit longer. It's not that long. And they have this big block of cheese that they roll down, and people just fly after the cheese. And when I say fly, one girl
Have you not seen a
tumbled
video
the
of it?
whole way down. The whole way down.
Because once you've
She
lost
knocked herself out.
Yeah.
It was on Canadian news. She knocked herself out.
Why
And
Canadian?
She was a Canadian. One of my Canadian teammates. It was on their national news. She sent me the link. Knocked herself out, won the cheese, and did an interview about how great it was, even though she knocked herself out, and that she's going to go back next year.
She won the cheese, though.
But she won the cheese. Right, this is my
won the
point.
cheese.
I was like, I really want to do it, but I would be that person that would actually kill myself because I'd be so competitive. I'll send you the link later. Honestly, it is mental.
Okay, can I please get credit for how long we've spoken? And I have not...
Here we go.
Settle in,
Do you
Jody.
have any
Settle in.
idea what's coming?
Settle
Because
in.
Elma is the well-known crazy cat lady of our podcast, and she has
Right.
learned that as a family,
The Ings Luxury Cat Hotel is the stuff of Cat Lady dreams.
Yeah, so you know about it then.
So are you sitting in the Ings Cat Hotel right now? Is that where you are?
I'm in our house at the minute. Obviously, the cat hotel's separate.
Oh.
But we have 3 different sections. So we have the cat hotel, like the Inns hotel, which is like luxury hotel. And then, have you heard of Centre Parks?
yeah,
Yes.
We have like a woodland, basically. So that's like a Centre Parks for cats. And then we have the luxury suites, which is like the 2 towers, but they are like luxury. So the beds are like human-sized beds instead of being like smaller beds. So I feel like you just need to come down, love.
What I love the most about the video from the Ings Luxury Cat Hotel is that they eat salmon and prawn.
and king prawns.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, they have a la carte menus. So, like,
Sorry, the way that you're explaining this is like this is a normal situation.
honestly, it is the norm to us. Like, for the last 8 years, like, I came back, literally, we started when I came back, and my mum will just be like, oh, we're just doing a cat wedding, you know, if you want to help out or something like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll come and help out. It's just a norm, literally.
Sorry. The cat wedding, is this like so the same people have like got the same cats, or is this a neighbour of the cat and they've decided they're going to marry them?
No, it's the owners. Like, it's the owners getting married. They're having their wedding, but they feel like the cat might be missing out on the wedding. So they're like, oh, well, can you also do a wedding whilst they're here at the Inns Luxury Cat Hotel to celebrate the wedding? So, you know, they have like a whole a la carte menu, like Prosecco, it's like Prosecco, cocktails, you know, even coffee, cappuccino, you know. So it's just a whole shebang.
I would like to know why Richard has not made the cats a cappuccino yet.
Who thought of this idea? Like, how
My mum.
was it?
My mum, like I said, she thinks so out of the box. She's just a wild character, but she just works so hard as well. She just makes it happen. But yeah, just everything, like even Saturday night discos, bedtime stories, movie nights. It's just birthdays, Valentine's Days, Christmas Day, Easter. The list goes on.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is pure luxury.
It is, honestly, from the footage that I have seen, nice. I have been to some human spas that are not as nice as this. There are spa treatments for the cats on the menu.
Yeah. As like there's VIPs, so obviously one VIP is like massage and a spa day and stuff like that. So they're literally like candles set, music going, like scents, and like we sort of lay it out, obviously, like the towels, and we give them catnip, if you know what catnip is. So it's basically, it gets cats high, literally. So they're full on relax, and then just give them a little massage and stuff, like a legit massage, because you can massage pets. So yeah, they're living the life. And the thing is, owners don't even, normally you'd think, right, the owners are going on holiday or, they're away, so they bring the cats to us. But people just bring the cats to us to give their cat a holiday whilst the owners are just at home.
This is unbelievable. Because Scaz was asking me to compare the prices to what I pay for cat sitting, but I only get a cat sitter in when obviously I'm not there. So people are literally bringing their cats. Do you guys have your own cats? Is that where this started? Does your own cat have a little house spa?
No, she just chills out on the floor upstairs in the house. She's not fussed. We do have one cat, and then we have like a French bulldog. But yeah, we're not like a crazy cat lady or anything like that. We just want to give pets the luxury treatment.
I love that.
Amazing.
Do you
That is
reckon your
unbelievable.
3, 4? How many have you got at the moment?
4.
Do you reckon your 4 would enjoy that?
Well, I would have to get them to Yorkshire, and after having travelled them from South Africa, I feel like putting them in a car and taking them all the way there. I wish there was an Ings luxury cat hotel in southwest London that I could take them to. Honestly, I've never in my life heard or seen anything like this. It is unbelievably entrepreneurial and really impressive that cat parents in Sheffield are this into. I mean, Yorkshire is obviously ground zero for people who have premium cats.
Literally, yeah, we are in the middle of nowhere. We're like in the middle of a field, in the middle of Yorkshire, and people won't even know we're here. So we are quite hidden. And then it's bizarre though, people, because obviously we are quite unique. So people from like America, China, like literally all over the place bring the cats to us because there's not a place like it. So we just get people from all over, like Poland, literally all over.
I think Elma might be getting in touch to come and do some like work experience or something.
I was going to say, I don't know what I'm doing here. I should go work there. People from around the world just bring you their very pampered kitty cats, and then you just give them a spa.
You do the spa treatments.
This is unbelievable.
Or make the
Cocktails. I can't obviously we've all been excited to talk to you, but Elma has been so excited to talk to you about the cat hotel.
And there's a lodge for like multiple cat families, so all 4 of them could stay in one place, and then they have a human-sized bed together, guys. This is so cute. It makes my heart melt a little.
Do you know what? She was that excited that she even put cat socks on this morning.
I am wearing kitty cat socks. Those are the little ears.
Honestly, if you're in Yorkshire, you need to come down and you can help us like make a cocktail or something like that. Or even we, do baths as well. So if you want to like bath a cat.
Do you work there? Do you work there as well?
Well, I did obviously before I like moved to like Devon and stuff like that. But that was like my job, sort of just helping out with. I did like all like the photo sites, because a VIP thing was like photo shoots. So like a legit photo shoot, and I've always been into like doing a bit of photography and stuff like that. So we had like the full studio lights, we had props, we had everything. So the full process of trying to get a cat to look at a camera, we had everything, and it went like hours. But yeah, so we're getting printed, getting framed, and and also like the cleaning side of things. It's not just all like, making sort of cocktails and that. It's a lot of cats.
So now you have a runner, but you used to be the cat runner.
True.
So true.
Wow, this is unbeatable. Honestly, this is the highlight. I wish this was my job. I feel like I've completely missed my calling. And it's just fascinating. Your parents are honestly the best. You know that if you need to correspond with Jody for work, we've had to book Jody for one or two things. And then her dad replies to the emails.
Yeah.
I love that.
I hope you've got him on a good rate, mate. Dobie's not taking too much of a cut from you.
Yeah, honestly, it's great. It's just like, he loves getting involved. And I think with him being in the police and stuff, it's so like straightforward. He just gets things done. So any excuse, he loves it, really.
Yeah, he is 10 out of 10 efficient and just lovely to deal with on email. And honestly, all of us were like, oh, it's Jodie's dad and he's so nice on email. So he's absolutely unbeatable. And he also went viral for that video of him combat training you guys, because he's got this really intense MMA jiu-jitsu background, right?
Yeah, but the thing is with that video, right? So obviously it came into training to show how you can add elements of like grappling and like how to sort of manipulate people in like contact and rugby stuff. But I was his demo, obviously, because it can just like throw me around or whatever. But in the demonstrations, it was showing situations what he would do in a fight and like getting me in a choke, arm locks and that. But obviously that's illegal in rugby. But that was the funniest part. So I posted a video of all these parts when he were like literally choking me on the ground and stuff. And then everyone was like, this is illegal. Like, how is he doing this? They were like going after my dad, thinking it was like legit and saying, why is he choking her like that and stuff? I'm thinking, gosh, it's only a little bit like, a bit of a demo and a bit lighthearted, but it was so funny. But it was good though. I think the girls really enjoyed it. It was just something different to training.
Wow.
So funny.
Unbeatable. And was that your childhood? Were you guys kind of always play wrestling, fighting? Was that very normal?
Yeah, that was just the norm. And again, this was just the norm. So we would set up like mats in the garage. So on a Saturday night, we'd go in the garage, have a fight with each other. But it always ended in tears because I thought I was about 12 or something, thinking I could beat him, a world champion or whatever. But we'd finish the fight and then we'd go in just before Britain's Got Talent started. So it would like have a fight, go in Britain's Got Talent and have my like chicken nuggets that I had every Saturday night.
This reminds me of Amy Cocaine and her family doing like weightlifting, just,
So good.
Christmas
Christmas
dinner.
Day. Christmas Day.
Just, it's normal in the Ounsley household. We just have a little,
It's normal.
bit of grappling, nothing major.
Honestly. But I loved it.
There is genuinely something about you that makes me feel like you might still discover another sport that you might just go and do to like an insanely high level. Like I feel like clearly your dad like never really stopped competing and you have this like strong competitive spirit inside you. Is there a secret sport that you actually deeply potentially maybe would want to still do?
Well, if someone said, right, you can't do rugby anymore, what do you want to do? I'd go into MMA 100%. I would love that. So do you know cage fighting?
I feel like whatever you do, it's got to have an element of
Fear.
or risk or like about it,
Contact. I just need contact.
It's the claw. Basically, if there's any of that claw action in the middle, Fury is actually the perfect name then.
Yeah, well, when I think about it, I think at first I thought Fury, but I think it actually does. It does work. So yeah, I'm happy with it, and the more I'm trying to embrace it. So I have visions of me coming back to like rugby and acting like parts of Fury in game, like just doing that in the middle of a rugby game or something. People are going to think, what the heck? Like, what is she doing? Is she all right? But yeah, I think I've got to come back out of character and go back to being Jody. Because literally no one's called me Jody since I've been here, and it's really weird.
That must be hard,
yeah.
to be fair.
So funny.
I think that would be so weird. What about
It's
when you're like
bizarre.
away from the cameras? Are you in apartments together and stuff?
Yeah, so we're in apartments.
Would they call
like
you
a block
Jody
of-
then?
Well, not really. We've got used to it now. We're just like, Fury or
Fury, do you want a
Sabre.
cup of tea?
It's just like, it's normal. It's like, oh, where's Dynamite? Oh, where's Diamond? Oh, she's upstairs. It's just a norm. And then if someone did say Jody, it'll be like, why are you saying Jody? It's bizarre. Just like adjusting to it. But at the same time, it does help you get in character, because if you're kind of being called Jody and then you're having to switch in Fury, if people are just saying, oh, this is Fury, and even with hair and makeup and stuff, like, oh, Fury, how do you feel about this makeup? Oh, Fury don't quite like that. It's just like, oh, Fury wants a coffee. It's
Bizarre.
mental. It's bizarre, yeah.
So good.
Do you know what it's like? No one calls you Natasha anymore.
Yeah, true.
True.
But that is kind of my name. Well, it's not. Okay, I understand your point.
Do you know how we call you
but
Mo?
like, I've grown up being called Mo, like to the point that when I went to school, I was Mo. The whole time growing up, I was Mo.
Shut up, mate.
No, but
That's love that.
I'm just gonna sink back into this sofa, Fury.
Have you been Mo for longer than you went in
I've been
Natasha?
Mo forever.
Okay, so people, I cannot wait for this to roll out on TV and for us to see your star absolutely rise up into the sky, and the girls flock to rugby teams everywhere because they want to be just like you, and all of the deaf girls and boys out there looking at you going, I can do that. If she can do that, I can do that. If that's possible, anything's possible.
Well, that's what I hope to do anyway. No pressure.
I feel like you're doing it already, and I'm so excited for where this journey is probably still going to hit you. I'm so glad we got her now.
I agree.
We got you before the fame kicks in, before you need a psychologist to help support you through all of it. But it's
Don't worry, I'm not going to be a diva. Let's say that.
She's a Yorkshire lass. They don't
Yeah.
turn into divas.
Can we come back, or can we come to you after and just see what it was all like
in Easter
for
Monday.
the coal race?
We're going to come and coal race.
Easter Monday 2024 coal race. We're going to come join you and all of your new fans and your Fury outfit for the coal race.
And then we can finish the day by coming to the Cat Hotel.
Yes.
Guys!
And then we'll
It's like
have
10
lost
or 15 minutes
we'll
there.
have lost Elma forever.
And
Right.
then I'll just move in with your mum and dad.
We'll email your dad later and just get it all confirmed and booked.
Yeah. We'll send Phil an email. Don't worry about it. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much for joining us, Jody. It's just an absolute pleasure chatting to you and hearing about all of your adventures and that very distinct Fury spirit.
Spirit. And the Yorkshire accent, obviously.
And look, I am down for all of the accents in this country. I think they are beautiful. Sometimes it's a lot for me to listen to, but I'm learning. My ears are growing really fond and a little more accustomed to a lot of the variety. I absolutely am living for it.
Love that. But thanks for having me, honestly. It's great having a natter. So, yeah.
Thanks, Bird. Thank you.
You're an absolute legend. Good luck with tomorrow. We can't wait.
Oh, thank you. I'm nervous now.
All together now. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Here we go, Fury. What an amazing gal. And we are just so excited for Jody and the future that she clearly has and all of the amazing adventures that she's got ahead of her. Now, before the end of the show this week,
I'm not doing it. Whatever
We're
I'm
on
not doing
edge.
it.
the two of them are freaking out because they have no idea what's happening next. I had a chat with someone who's quite a big fan who reached out and sent us some mail. Now, I haven't read this, but it was delivered to our studio. It says, Elma, Emily, Mo, and producer Shira. Producer Shira gets mail as well.
Whoa.
People sing to producer Shira and she gets mail.
Sorry, can we appreciate the envelope that came in?
Yeah.
That didn't come in by Royal Mail.
Well, there was an envelope on the outside because it
Fine.
came with a package.
Fine.
Oh.
It's handwritten. Elma, Emily, Mo, and Shira. First off, I need to thank Shira and Jess for helping me sort this out logistically. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, producer Shira. Jess Hayden, thank you for your also role that you've played in this, Jen. Jess did have to chase me on this because I didn't reply the first time. Bad. I'm also assuming that Emily and Mo have no idea what's happening, but it's nothing bad. I wanted to come up with a way to show a bit of thanks from a guy who used to play rugby but hasn't picked up a ball since leaving Loughborough 10 years ago. I came to your podcast from GB&R and I haven't missed an episode yet. Welcome over. You are vital Thursday listening on the tube. What you have put together is a fantastic balance of analysis, comedy, and a place for people to tell their side of the story that historically would never be told. For me personally, this has brought big changes. From going to watch a match at a bar at Victoria train station, apparently cornering Elma. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, Seb. So sorry if it felt aggressive, by the way. You're just a big guy, Seb. It didn't feel aggressive. It's okay. I'm scarier than you. To going to Kingsholm and watching the ladies beat Sale, and most recently being at Twickenham for the Six Nations decider. That was very special. You helped get across why women's rugby is just as big as men's, at least to the fans. The passion and joy and love simply to be playing comes across so clearly. You have helped build the community. And until a scrunchy company or a certain metallic water bottle brand wants to sponsor you, I assume you do it for the joy above all else. So these are simply from a fan to say thank you for the laughs, the learning, and the friends. Shout out to Fee Pocock.
Oh.
Forever grateful, Seb. And then asterisk, artist is a friend of mine. Zenspire Designs on Instagram. Now, I have not, as you can tell, I'd read that for the first time now, and I have not seen what this is.
Oh, have we been sent something?
We have been sent mail.
Is that what you were hustling with a minute ago?
Oh.
I knew something fishy was going on. That's really cute from Seb.
Thank you,
You
Seb.
haven't seen the artwork yet.
The
But
letter was lovely.
do you want to
Go on,
hand?
Scaz.
There we go.
Oh my god.
Oh, the
So cool.
So much detail. This is going to have to go on the set. Or do you want to take it
How
home?
cute.
Can we keep it? Can we keep it?
No,
for
we
the
can keep
set?
it. I feel like Seb, we need to have this in the background.
Zenspire Designs have just
That's
captured
so
you guys.
Sweet, bless him.
To
I
a
tell you
T.
what, he has been listening because the
The back
Back
plait is
plait?
on point.
The back plait is beautiful.
unbelievable
And the scrunch.
and the scrunchie.
Oh, that's class.
And the Emily Scarrett half pony.
Oh yeah, Scaz bun. It's got a name.
The
People
Scaz
call
bun.
it Scaz bun.
Scaz bun. There we go.
So cute.
How very cute,
That's a bit of a moment.
isn't it?
Just mad that someone cares that much to do that. Do you know what I mean?
That's very, very sweet.
Yeah. Wow.
Madness. Who'd have thought people listen, eh?
Isn't that a little scary?
That's very scary. Oh but no, thank you so much. That's very, very kind. We did not know that was happening. Could tell something funny was going on. You two were conspiring.
Thank you to Jess Hayden for playing her part in getting me to actually pick this up. And to producer Shira for being the brain, the glue. And to every Seb out there, you're welcome. Be part of the family. Pull up a chair. Keep listening. And keep coming up to chat to me at events. There was another man who came to speak to me at your game.
Yeah, Richmond.
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
Was it Simon?
I can't remember. But I'm glad that
I feel like it was a Simon.
Yes. He was
lovely.
I know. And I told Shira, I was like, oh, a man came up to speak to me and now I can't remember his name and I feel really bad. But please do just come up and have a chat and share your thoughts because we love having you along for the ride. Go you girls.
Go you. Go everyone.
Oh, And we're going to leave you on that note, but go follow Zenspire Designs on Instagram. And thank you for the lovely gift, Seb. We are The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby, brought to you by Vodafone. This is a Folding Pocket production, produced by Shara Kilgallen.